Yo, welcome to Team Red Titan, and today we're going to be reviewing the Sideshow Collectibles Riddler Premium Format. This piece has just come out. I've done an unboxing video on all the parts that you get with the piece, my initial feelings and thoughts on it. I've let the piece sit for around 5 to 7 days. It's something that I do as a rule when I do a review, because I feel that sometimes getting things out of the box, the excitement of a new statue, looking at it from that sort of perspective, sometimes can mar your judgment. Just tweak it a little bit too much in the positive. So I like things to sit, and then when I do the review, I give the once over, I can talk about all the negatives as well as the positives that I've basically accrued all that detail over the last week anyway. So stay tuned to hear exactly what we think about this. Is it up there with the Penguin, which was a massive hit from Sideshow Collectibles, their last DC release? That was a big hit. Is it that standard, or did they miss the mark? Stay tuned to find out. Okay, so I've removed the straps, and then we're basically getting into the Sideshow Collectibles Riddler Premium Format. This is the first actually licensed Riddler that's ever been released that's classic DC sort of Riddler, not like the, I believe that XM did the Samurai version, but that doesn't really count in this case. So what we'll do is we'll open up the top, and let's have a look what's going on here. Okay, so stepping back, you can see everything in its full glory there. And we'll start with the base, and we'll go from there. Everything looks well packed, neat and tidy. Nothing looks out of place from here, so it's all looking good. Let's get the first piece out. Okay, so we'll start with the base. It's actually quite sizey, this, and it's very, very stiff in here. Let's try and get it out safely. Yeah, this is very much wedged in there, bro. Okay, so sit up in my knee. I'll just have a little put just on camera what we're looking at. Okay, so I move all this away and get into the light. You can sort of see what we've got here. So you've got the flammable sort of barrel, explosive sort of wires everywhere. What's that, like a petrol can down at the bottom? Some sort of motor or engine here. Loads of wires, loads of textures. The actual thingy looks fantastic, to be fair. The actual, drum. Oh, the drum that you're sitting on, that's really, really nice. And underneath, the artwork is like so. And I have... what number do I have? Well, that's really difficult to see. That is number 9. I'm getting a lot of low numbers from Sideshow at the moment. Number 9 of 1,000. The last 3 pieces I've got in have been under 10 edition size, so quite nice low numbers there. You've got this whole situation going on here, so that's got sort of tape and circuit boards, all kinds of bits and pieces, man. That's really cool. It's like an amp or some shit. That's wicked. Anyway, let's get down. So it's quite weighty. It's looking good. And we'll have a run through it. Oh yeah, and I'm wearing my Batman clocks today, so fuck you guys. I actually did watch the unboxing of this, and now I have absolutely no idea which order it goes in. It's just so typical, isn't it? Okay, let's just open what I think may be... okay, so this is some type of map here. Careful with this. Have a little look at this. Yeah, this is like, one of the sort of maps for Batman. It's got sort of Wayne Enterprises on the bottom of it, Wayne Towers, Gotham City. It's got loads of like question marks all over the place, and obviously there's the key. It's actually quite thick. In my hand it feels incredibly chunky. I don't know what it's going to look like when it's on. In person, I like the stainage and all the stuff around the corners and all of this business, the sort of like water damage and the marks. I dig all of that. Does it look like paper? Not really. Not to me. They could have put some lines in this just to give it that sort of, that's incredibly smooth around there. A little bit of texture wouldn't have gone a long way, would have helped actually with this, but maybe when it's on, it will get the desired effect. Right, let's see what this is. So, next piece out. So this is the little television thing. Everything is very tight, actually. I have to say that. There isn't like a lot of room. You'll be very careful getting this stuff out. So, okay. So this is the television. That's sort of on in the background. There's the key there. You've got sort of a very OG sort of monitor. Like, you know, one of them old school video and TV all-in-ones. I had one of these shit things. I had a silver one. That's how old I am. You also got to be aware when you're doing these things that you leave things like this. You leave this residue here. So this is what you'll see in some of the videos in passing. I'll have a load of these. It's exactly what these are for, believe it or not. These are not jizz mops, so take your mind out of the gutter, but they actually do a really good job of just wiping off that residue from your hands. And you can have a little look there at the TV. Nice gloss on the front, wires, all that business, key. Got like the old tape stuck on the side and stuff like that. See, there's a lot of stainage around when you're doing things like this. Anyway, I'll put that on and see how it looks. Okay, I think it's time for the big show here, so let's just unwrap him. It's deceptively large, actually. You think, you know, you look at some of the pictures, you think, oh, it's not too sizey, but it's actually, you can see in your hands, it's quite. Let's have a look. Isn't wearing tail, so no stress there. But you get an idea what you're looking at here with the nice crease work on the shirt and stuff. There's fantastic. That is lovely shading on the green of the suit. It's like a dirty, you know, it's got grazes and cuts on his knees. Got those socks, nice shoes. Yeah, it's nice, man. Got, you know, sort of like the Riddler cufflinks on his jacket. Nice lining work with that. Yeah, man, this has got a lot going for it, I've got to say. This is very nice. So, got a big bit of weight to it. But yeah, very nice. Nicely done. Okay, it's got the body out, no problems, everything's looking good. Let's go with the portrait. You know, when you do an unboxing like this, like that's the three things you're really hoping come out okay. The portrait, the figure itself, and the base. Okay, so let's have a look at that. Now, already, yeah, definitely getting hints of Jim Carrey with this face. You know, but they've got his proportions perfect. Hat looks great, green. The fantastic shading at the front as well to really brighten that sort of, you know, that angle up. It's quite dark as it goes around the outside of it. The highlights in the purple and the gold, really nice. The actual profile of him is a lean, skinny, weak, physically character. Which obviously this is, you know, obviously to highlight the fact that Riddler's so dangerous with his mind. He makes up for them sort of physical frailties with having such a ridiculous intellect. Hair looks good, no damages, little wisps and stuff at the back are good. Eyes are kind of liking the fact he's got no pupils, much more menacing. He's got a bit of a Bruce Forsyth kind of chin there, and he's doing something with his lips, sort of like biting in. Let's have a look at the teeth close up. Yeah, it's looking very nice, man. My first instinct was it's a bit dark, but, you know, it's got like a muddy, sort of like dark, you know, dirty face. Can you see that? And the skin is kind of dirty. Yeah, it's great. At first I thought it was like the old Mexican job that Sideshow do, but looking at it in person, it's got like dirt and stuff on his face. Very cool. Okay, let's see what we've got in this very neatly wrapped, carefully wrapped stuff. I mean, this is really, really protected here. So this is the delicate, yeah, there you are. So you can see why here. This is the, sorry, let's put that there so you can get a better look. This is the sort of detonator hand. Yeah, and the actual sort of antenna on the top is actually connected, so that is probably why it's so well packaged there. Let's get some focus on there you go, and get them details. Nice work on the gloves. Looks really good. Again, got the dirtiness sort of in them colours there, shade. I mean, he's really got a sort of like grotty, dirty suit, which I actually really like. Now they've really done a good job at sort of making him look like he's industrial, like underground, building this. It's like he's just made this bomb, which is just brilliant. I'm loving it. Okay, so let's get our last hand. Look at this. Okay. Alright, so this is the one, this is the hand. Let's just get a focus on there. This is the hand with the calling card and the riddle on the other side. And you can read that for yourself a little closer. That looks brilliant. Answers on a postcard. Again, you can see the sort of dirt up his sleeve. Really nice dirt on his glove. Great shade in there, really nice. And everything is fitting in very, very smoothly so far. Let's just check that one. Because as I've said that, that's like the weakest magnet of a lot of them, that one. So, yeah, let's have a look. Okay, now what is next? What is a man without his tie? I believe this is the tie. I need to spend any good crazy amount of time going over this, but there it is. Oh, it's actually really nice. So I don't want to take too long on it, but it's a nice metallic purple colour. It's very, very nice. Catches the light lovely. So let's get on him. Okay, I think I've got, all that remains is the chain and this sort of walking stick thing here, this cane. Very famous and iconic Riddler cane. Which, yeah, it's also got that bow in it that the on the video I noticed. So when I get back here, I noticed it had this sort of bowing on it, which I was a bit like, why? Why have they not just done it straight? But I guess it leans up against this barrel. Great question mark. It's nothing too extravagant, to be honest with you. I mean, I'm not going to get overexcited about this. It's okay. I've got, like, there's much more detail they could have put in this. They could have put some nice lines and textures on this. It's okay. It's probably the weakest part of it, to be honest. Let's see how it goes in. Okay, so last bit really, and it's this chain. Mine's actually come out of the box, so that's interesting. Trying to get that out is going to be fun. Okay. It's got this big arse chain here that goes around. Obviously it's a real chain because if you wanted something like this, if you wanted to sculpt something like this, it would cost you so much more than actually just using a real chain. Sometimes I think we forget and we're like, oh, it's real metal. And you realise that real metal actually is the cheaper and easier option to go down. But yeah, let's get on there and see how it looks. Alright, so let's give you the close-up and sort of my thoughts on it. That's all completed and together. We'll start off with the base, which for me is the highlight of the piece, to be honest. You know, this has been in my collection now for about a week. Unboxed, I've been looking at it every day. I'm in here every day at some point, so I've been spending a good time looking at it. You got TVs, you know, like I showed you in the unboxing. You've got like a motor and engine, wires, you've got like sort of pliers and bits and pieces there, bits of sort of duct tape and buttons and switches, everything connected together, which is fantastic. You got sort of like an amp there or some sort of like, I don't even know. I'm going to go with amp. Fuck it. I'm not the most technical of people, so I'm going to go with that. Everything looks very homemade, very sort of built by an industrious person who's sort of a bit sharp and a bit smart, knows how to like put a few things together and make something really, really dangerous. He's got, I see where Alex was talking about with the Joker sort of idea that he had with this, that it was a Joker concept, because this is very much reminiscent of the scene in Dark Knight where, you know, Rachel Dawes and Harvey Dent sort of are both kidnapped and they're both strapped to these barrels with this homemade sort of bomb situation going on. The wires are great, the colours here are great, the contrast is great, the still sort of like baseline with the oxidization going on is fucking epic. Real chains running around it, which are great. It adds a little bit of, you know, even more contrast to this sort of like the look of this. The barrel's fantastic, it's oily and it's grimy, it looks fantastic. You've got sort of like a map up here where, you know, you can really see the sort of like, you know, the Wayne Enterprises, you know, bits and pieces. It's some sort of like grid, and it has question marks all over it. It actually does look great. He's sitting on it. But then when you get onto the Joker part, this is where the weakness of the piece actually come to light, because, you know, let's start here. The shoes look great. They look good. You've got dirt marks on them, and you've got all these bits here. You've got these like nicks into the trousers and dirt running up the leg, which looks good. But I mean, what happened here? What the fuck is that meant to be there? That is horrible. That thing on the knee, I don't know what that is. Is that meant to be like a graze, or I don't know. It's just really weird. It's almost like a purpley pink colour. It doesn't really look like skin overly. The sculpt of that's kind of raw. It's even worse on this one. I don't really know what's happened here, but that's horrible. That part there, that's really something. That's okay. It's really, even my camera's like, nah, fuck, I ain't looking at that close up. You know, but it's really, yeah, it's really bad. I've got to say to you, I really don't like how dim and dingy his suit is. It's very muted in terms of the vibrant green colours. I know that they're trying to sort of show that he's like been doing this himself and he's dirty and all of that, but I really don't like the fact that they've done that with it. I really feel at the moment like, you know, it's when you step back and you look at it as a whole, I feel like it's a little dark, the piece itself. And I've got a lot of lights coming in. I've got a lot of light on this piece, and I just feel at the minute it's very, very dingy, and I feel like they really should have made him vibrant and peacock and looking like amazing, and done the contrast from that dingy base. I understand that he made it, and I understand in the story you're trying to tell that he's built this himself and therefore his hands are dirty. I mean, even his face, look how dirty that face is. You know, I mean, it's all like, it's just like really dark and kind of like mucky face, but in doing that it's kind of muted all the detail there. You know, it's dark, it's dirty all over his suit, it's dirty all over the hands, and this part here where you get into sort of like the sleeves here. I mean, look at that. I mean, look at the skin textures that have been used there to try and capture from the glove to the hand to the grey shirt, the dingy grey shirt. It just looks like, you know, the contrast in that is not very good at all. The purplish colour of the gloves is actually, the skin is almost a bit purpley pink. Doesn't really look like skin tones to me. The shirt underneath is like just sort of like a dark, like someone threw a bit of crap on it. It just doesn't look, you know, the dirt is sort of everywhere. There's no real highlights of anything there. You know, there's no, all this sculpting work in there, all these lines and buttons and details. I've just left them. You know, the best part is probably the shirt sculpt. I think that's fantastic, the way they've done the creases and everything there. I quite like the tie. I've got no problem with that. But I really do feel that when you start getting into this and you start looking at the actual suit itself, even with all this light, it's incredibly dingy. You know, for the character, I think he should have a brilliantly, like almost a luminous green suit. The glove should be like looking bright and perky. Skin tone should be cleaned up. It doesn't need to look like he's just done this now, that he's just been on his knees, cut his knees to pieces in making this at the moment. I think that could have been, I think the people that buy this statue know that the character is quite industrious and he can make things, and he does it all himself. I think we know that already. So I think this has gone a little bit too far over the top with the actual concept, and it's actually hurt the piece. It's hurt the statue. I mean, look at the detailing on the sculpt on his face there, but it's so like dirty and grey and sort of like a dirty brown colour. It doesn't look great. You know, there needs to be a lot more shading in this suit, and there needs to be a lot more colour in this suit, so you can really get that. You can highlight the textures more. I mean, that's just like a wash. That's all one colour. All that sculpting detail on the lines in his suit, all the creases, they're all the same sort of colour. Very slight difference. You know, not enough for me. There's a lot going on here in the suit, and I think they really failed to capture that. In the end, it just feels a little bit like they went a little bit over the top with the weathering and the dirtiness of the actual character himself, which is a real shame, because the base is a solid 9 out of 10. But I've got to be honest, the figure paint applications are easily a 5 at best. I'm going to have to get this repainted, in my opinion, to really see the true quality of this sculpt under there. Because for me, I just think it's a little bit too dingy, and then it comes across a bit boring and a little bit like it doesn't grab your attention enough. It's a shame, really, man. It's a real shame, because it's really close to being there. I think they missed a trick. Okay, so something else to mention as well, while we're getting onto this, when you turn the lights sort of down or off, there is a fantastic detail. If you've got like a blue light or black light here, you can see on the, the map, there's little question marks that pop up, and it's the same when you go into sort of the barrel behind that chain. There's one, and it's the same with the wires here. The wires all glow up on the television, so you can see here everything glows up around there. The obviously the button on the one of the switches lights up, and then you've got sort of the same here with this, with the wires and such. It's all sort of lights up, and then there's a couple of more question marks. There's one there, look, on the top of the barrel, so you can see there. And there is some, so they're all hidden all over the place. And then there's a nice little feature. When you get this, look, you can see around the bottom there, see all the sort of slime and stuff all around there, where he's basically obviously wiping it, and there's one there. Sort of, you can see the button lighting up, and the same with the front. I quite like this because it looks dingy there, and then you put that on it, and that just brightens up lovely. The card, there's nothing on it. There's a couple of little Jackson Pollock, could be seaman, I'm not going to say for sure, but yeah, so there's a couple of bits like that. There's nothing actually on the suit itself, but yeah, so that's a nice little feature if you want. I mean, I don't personally understand why Sideshow do this as a rule. It is great. I mean, I've got a lot of their pieces recently that have them. Yeah, so I thought I'd share that with you. Like I said, I'm happy with the piece. I think the sculpt is very nice. I think the pose is very nice. I like the art direction. I just think they've taken it a little bit too literally. I think they've been a little bit too literal. The question mark sort of cane is awesome. The whole base concept is perfect, and I wouldn't change any of that. But like I say again, I don't want to sound like a broken record, but I really do think that he needs just a little bit more of a brightening up. I think it's a little bit too dingy, and I've got him incredibly illuminated here, so I can give you an example of how quickly it can change. So if I turn this light off here next to him, look what happens. And bearing in mind I'm using a camera actually makes the most of the light, he looks brighter on here than he does in person. So that's a big drop that sort of happens. You start removing all the lights around him, and then it becomes quite a dull looking Riddler now. All of a sudden, just feel the suit is a bit too pale. The contrast of the shirt doesn't really work. So my idea is I'm going to give him the question mark suit. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to get painted the question mark suit, bright, vibrant green, black question marks all over it. I'm going to make the shirt black. I'm going to paint up. I'm going to get my artist to paint up his face a little bit. I'm going to brighten up the socks, brighten up the gloves, make his shoes look brand new, and go from there. I think that's what this piece deserves, really. But yeah, I think that sort of wraps up my thoughts on it. Good, not great. Beast was a lot better coming in. So this is a bit of a step down from the last couple of pieces I got. So the last 3 in were Beast, Cyclops from Alpha 3, and Namor. So when this Riddler came in, I was hopeful, but it didn't hit the mark of all of those ones. I've got to be honest with you. I didn't get the sort of like wow from it. I think they had a blueprint here to actually do something very, very special, and I think they sort of dropped the ball when it comes to painting the actual figure, which is a real shame. Yeah, so good, but not great. I think that's a fair assumption. Give it a score, if I had to, out of 10, I would give it a 7, but majority of those points are for the base. The base probably gets like 5 of those 7 points. The figure is probably, it bumps up 2.5 points. I think if I repaint this figure, I think this could be an 8.5 out of 10 piece. maybe a 9. I could push it to a 9, but it needs the paint. I mean, it's the sleeves and things are unforgivable for me. This shit here, I don't know what the fuck that's meant to be, but that's meant to be obviously the suit, and then it's got to be the shirt, and then that's meant to be skin, and then the gloves. I don't know what that is going on there, but that is not skin there. The shirt, again, is not shaded, and you could have sweat marks going in there and some real nice details around that shirt, the dirtiness, if you want to do that. I'm going to make it clean. I'm going to black it up and make it nice, put some shades in it, and some, like, you know, some, what you call, like, some highlights in it. Make the gloves nice and bright and vibrant, because, again, they're, even for purple, they're a tad dingy and a little bit too dirty. So, yeah, you know, I think you're getting my point. Stay blessed, people. Okay, everyone, so you've heard what we think about the piece, heard what I think about it, and now it's your turn. Let us know in the comments what you think. How did you like the review? Hope you enjoyed it. Let me know if it's sort of, is this you know, am I seeing it how you're seeing it? Is it the kind of piece that you would want in your collection? If not, what Riddler would you go for? There's slim pickings out there, so it's quite a hard choice. I'm now going to decide. I've decided already. I've already hit out my painter. I want to get this repainted. Certainly the figure. I think it needs that. It's just too dull. It's just far too dull. And I understand that with Sideshow Collectibles, you know, and with other companies, that basically art direction is either going to, you know, it's going to make you or it's going to break you. And in this regard, I think they stuck a little bit too close to the task. I think they used it a little bit too literally, and therefore he's now a bit grotty and a bit dirty. And yeah, I understand he's making bombs and he's, you know, doing all this stuff, but I think it now lacks that texture and contrast that I think it needed, where he looks $1 million. Saturn on this grotty thing would have been a much better, I think, better statue. Maybe as a concept it works, but I think now in collections, I think this is going to look a little dull. I think it's going to be forgettable, and people are going to move on quite quickly from it, because it's not going to grab you. It's full of details all over the base, but because everything's so dark and dingy, I really think it's sort of, it's one of them pieces that you're just gonna walk past, and that's a real shame, because there's a lot of work and detail that's gone in here. I just think the paint applications are quite poor, and it doesn't match the quality of the sculpt. So, you know, they're my thoughts. Let me know yours. Thank you so much for the support, and all you subscribers and supporters of Rad Tyne out there. You know how much we love you. Thanks for everything. God bless you.